Hey there, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if it is your first time here. My name is Erin and today's video is all about the Love Notions Clearwater Summer Essentials pattern. If you do enjoy this video and you are not already a subscriber, I hope you consider hitting that subscribe button by the time we get to the end of the video. And if you liked this video, hit that like button on the way out and leave a comment. Have you made this pattern yet? Are you interested in this pattern? I've had people in a couple other videos mention that they bought it or were interested in it. Today we're going to be talking all about it. I'm going to start with just a pattern overview, what it is, sizing, etc. And then I'm going to talk about my sewing experience with it. I have made 2 dresses and a pair of shorts is what I've done from the pattern, and how I feel about the pattern, my thoughts on the pattern, and then at the end I'm going to include a short tutorial of how I added inserts for removable cups to both of my dresses because I don't like sewn in cups, and that is kind of the only alternative they provide you in the tutorial to just having nothing. So let's get started. This is Love Notions' latest pattern. It came out in mid-June, I want to say, pretty recently, probably about a month and a half ago now. But it is the Clearwater Summer Essentials Athletic Wear and Swimwear Bundle. It says this bundle of versatile patterns includes a dress with built-in sports bra that can be used as a swim dress or just an athletic type of dress. That is what I went with. None of my items are for a swim. They are not swimwear. I wanted functional athletic clothing. Also included is a tankini top with built-in sports bra, bike shorts with panel gusset, and full coverage brief. The built-in sports bra for the dress can also be made on its own. So it is 5 separates that can be mixed and matched for swim or athletic knits. It is meant for knit fabrics, and the sizing is extra small to 5X. The skill level is for a confident beginner. It does come with print at home in both US and A4 size, as well as and those are layered. Then it also comes with layered print shop file and a projector file. So there's a lot. And also all Love Notions patterns, I believe, I guess I shouldn't say all without verifying it, but I do believe all of their patterns do come with a full bust option. So that is already done for you if you need to use the full bust option. So their extra small to 5X range covers a high bust of 31 inches to 55 inches, a full bust of 33 to 57.5 inches, waist of 26.5 to 49.5 inches, hip of 35.5 to 59.5 inches, and then thigh, for like the shorts and the briefs and stuff, of 21 inches to 36.5 inches. Full price, the pattern is $12.50. There are lots of ambassadors out there that can get you 10% off. I used Whitney from Tomcat Stitchery's code. They change quarterly, so just check before you go to buy it. Check a channel that is an ambassador and get the code. I don't think it would be a Feature Friday anytime soon. If you are not aware, Love Notions has a $5 Feature Friday every Friday where they take a pattern and it's $5 is what it sounds like, and they feature it. I don't think it'll be one anytime soon because they just released it, but they do have a couple sales throughout the year that I think are 30 to 40% off. So there are opportunities to get it for less than full price throughout the year. Now we're going to move into my experience sewing the pattern. Just a little bit about me right now and where I'm at in my sewing life is I have been all about the activewear, a little bit of swimwear lately. I have sewn, including this pattern, I've sewn 6 activewear / swimwear patterns from 5 different companies over the last 2.5 months, something like that, like pretty brief amount of time. So I feel like I'm very, very novice in this world of sewing with these techniques, but I've been doing it a lot recently. So the instructions and the tips and tricks from all of these companies are very front of mind for me. And as I was going through this, I will admit, I was underwhelmed. Clearly, I like the pattern. I sewed 2 right away. So I do like the finished product. I do really like the drafting of it. It was something I was looking for, but not finding exactly what I wanted. And this is still not exactly what I want, but the closest I had found. So I decided to go for it and buy it. And clearly I do like it. I've made 2. I plan to make more of the dresses in the future. just when it comes to the instructions, it is very much sewable. If you've never sewn this type of clothing before, you can totally execute it and it'll be fine. I just felt thankful that I had sewn patterns from all these other companies, a lot of which do focus a lot more on activewear and have a lot of activewear patterns, because it made me understand things a little better. And there were some areas where the Clearwater pattern didn't really give me more information, and I just kind of relied on what I had been told to do in other patterns. So my overall impression is that the drafting is good, great, fine, awesome. But the instructions feel rushed. I cannot say if that's true or not. I just feel like putting this pattern out, or at least, I don't know. It just feels like something was rushed along the way, because there are kind of a high number of misspellings. There are some things that really just don't make sense. There is a grain line marking missing on a pattern piece for the print at home version. Just little stuff that is not a big deal separately, but when looking at it cumulatively, it just feels like not that not enough attention was paid, but that it was rushed maybe. Or maybe they were just trying to put too much into one pattern, so it was like juggling a lot of balls. You know, you have instructions for basically 5 things going on. It could be easy to miss aspects. I'm gonna give you a couple examples. So like I mentioned, there is a grain line missing on, a grain line marking missing on the back middle piece for the print at home version. I checked and it does appear to be on the A0 as well as the projector versions, and I made sure it wasn't an error on my part, like I had unchecked a layer that had the grain line, but it was on all the other pieces. So it definitely wasn't that. And I went back and checked, and it appears to just not have made it onto the PDF print at home version. Not a huge deal. It's the middle piece, right? So like easy to figure out. You have the front middle piece as reference. So it's not a huge deal, but I like to have a grain line marked because I want to cut things on the grain. So that was missing. This piece, all of the things that needed to be mirror image, so like the side panels were all mirror image. They would say cut to mirror image on the pattern piece. This is the shorts pocket and it just says cut to. On first look, it appears to be very rectangular, right? But it's not. It's just slightly off. I really don't think it would be a huge deal if you cut two facing the same way. I don't think it would be a big deal, but it's just another one of those little things where I'm like, it's a detail missed. And I don't fault anyone for missing details of things, but when there's enough of them, I kind of start to wonder what else is being missed. Like I said, the drafting's good. I do want to say that. I made multiple of them. I don't want it to come across like a hate fest. I do just want to show you though. Let me line up the bottom as well as I can while holding it up. Do you see that? The bottom is slanted just a little bit. Like I said, not a huge deal. I really don't think it would be a big deal if they were cut the same way, but I do think that should say cut to mirror image. In the instructions where it lists what to cut for each item, it also does just say shorts pocket cut to. So I might be making it this whole mirror image thing, but it's definitely not a rectangle. So, I mean, maybe it's how I taped it. Might be how I taped it. And then some things just like aren't that clear. So it tells you how much, like the length of different elastics to cut for different things, but it doesn't put the size of elastic. Now it is either 1 inch for the underbust band, although it just says bra. It just says 1 inch bra. 1 inch wide knit elastic for sports bra. Okay, you can figure out where that goes. 3 inch wide elastic for brief bra and dress. So there's also some going into the bra. So, I mean, you don't have to be a genius to figure out what's going where, but how hard would it be to have like underbust, cut 1 inch elastic, or neckline, cut 1 3/8 inch elastic? Just so there's no questions, just so it's all very, very clear. I want the freshest person in the world to be able to figure this out. Now, moving into the instructions. they're just not that informative. There's not that many tips or tricks, this conversation comes up so much, right? Like, it's not sewing patterns it's not the sewing patterns job to teach people how to sew. And it's really not. And I think I am being extra harsh because I've sewn all these other patterns. I've sewn Made for Mermaids, Jaylee, Green Style, and Styla, two of which primarily put out activewear, and one other one, Made for Mermaids, does a lot of activewear. They have a whole line of activewear. And then Styla has quite a few activewear and swimsuit patterns. So all of those have done a lot. This is basically the first foray into activewear and swimwear for Love Notions. I think they have a kids swim pattern, maybe, could be wrong. So it's definitely a first time for them, and I think maybe that is part of why there's just not as much helpful information. But what I have found over the past couple months is that it is not a different type of sewing. It's not like you need special different skills, but you kind of do. Not skills. There are other aspects to it. That's how I should put it. There are other aspects that sewing a lot of other regular stuff doesn't involve. Anyway, so I have a lot of bones to pick with these instructions. First of all, it starts off with sewing the dress tankini with built-in bra. Cool, got it. You do all of the panels for the front and the back of the dress or the tankini. So you sew the 3 together on both sides. Top stitch it if you want. Cool, got it. Then you align the front and back at the shoulders, right sides together, and stitch or serge. Cool. Number 3, align bra at neckline, front and back, right sides together, and stitch. So you're aligning them at the neckline, front and back, and you're stitching, not stitch or serge, which this is so nitpicky of me. It was so inconsistent about whether to stitch or serge. I went back and looked at the classic tee, which is also by Love Notions, and it is very consistent and always saying like stitch or serge, stitch or serge, stitch or serge, or just stitch. And then the Stylo swimsuit I made recently was really, really good about saying like serging not recommended for this step, or do not serge this step, and just kind of like otherwise you can stitch or serge. So it's just very clear about where both can play a role. This pattern was so inconsistent. And yeah, align bra at neckline, front and back, right sides together, and stitch. Like, why didn't we use the same wording as align dress tankini front to back at shoulders, right sides together, and stitch serge? Why couldn't we say the same thing? Because when you look at the picture, it wants you to stitch the shoulders, which makes sense because then you lay them together. The wording of this step, I had to pause the show I was watching and read it out loud to make sure I wasn't missing something, because it's very straightforward, but it's just the way it was worded to my brain was so convoluted. With right sides together, align bra to dress tankini at neckline, front and back, right sides together, and stitch. Why are we saying right sides together twice? Thank you, right sides together, got it, cool. And you look at the picture, and again, picture's pretty clear. You're just aligning the necklines and stitching the neckline. That's all you're doing. It's not that, I don't know why we had to say right sides together a bunch of times. So that was annoying. Then you get down to adding the elastic, and it says to use a serger or a 3-step zigzag stitch to attach. Stretch the elastic gently to fit. Gently is spelled wrong. Gently to fit. Once again, it's so nitpicky, but like, people are paying for this. The elastic is approximately 95% of the neckline length, just enough to form to the neckline when worn. The first time I made this, I measured the elastic to the length that they told me to. One thing I did before I cut it was pre-stretch it, because once again, all of the other patterns that I had sewn, basically, that I can remember and think of, all of the other patterns had me pre-stretch the clear elastic, and it does make a big difference. Like, you cut it, stretch it just a couple times, and it can grow like 3/4 of an inch, which that's kind of significant when you're trying to match it to a certain area, or like this case where you're trying to use it to help form a shape. So I pre-stretched it. And then I made sure it was the right length, and I did what I would define as a gentle stretch. And it didn't make it. It wasn't even close. So I took it out and then just pre-stretched a longer piece of it and did it kind of how I normally would. I just gently stretched it because it told me to. Every other pattern has had me do 1-to-1 ratio, but I have not had any necklines formed like this. So that part made sense to me, but I gently stretched it, and it was fine that time because I kept like my whole thing of elastic instead of pre-cutting the length. Everything else, basically fine. It does have you top stitch around the neckline close to the elastic, and it says try not to stitch into the elastic. Other patterns I've done have specifically said to stitch into the elastic. If you know like the reasons to or not to, please share because I'm interested. Especially with this elastic, you've clipped it by this point. You've clipped the corners and all the corners of the front and the back. You've clipped the elastic, so it has the tension still a little bit to help shape things. But like, if I've clipped it, why can't I sew into it? I'm just confused about. Not really sure the reasoning. Now you burrito method to do the arm side. This was done the exact same way I've done it in any other pattern that has had me do something similar to this. So that made total sense and was pretty easy. Now step 10, sew the arm side, so you're burrito rolling, doing the arm side is how you're getting it to be enclosed and finished. You place the elastic within the seam allowance of the arm side using a 3-step zigzag stitch or serger. It has a really cool zoomed in picture of elastic in the seam allowance. Like, ooh, nice. Clearly I'm supposed to finish it before I hit the raw edge. It says nothing, not a zilch about what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, where to stop it. My assumption is the seam allowance. So 3/8 of an inch, but I don't know. I have no idea. If you scroll down, this is what makes me think like there was just so much going on with this pattern that they like didn't copy paste some of the instructions throughout everywhere it needed to be. Because if you scroll down to like page 14, has essentially the same picture and explains start and stop your elastic 1/2 inch to 3/8 inch away from each end. So there it gives you your distance, which once again makes sense. Seam allowance. Okay. Also, this does have you straight stitch the arm side first and then attach the elastic with the 3-step zigzag or serger. My problem with this, I did not do it this way, I'll admit it. I basted the shoulder seam where it gets like really tight because there's not a lot of space in this strap. So getting it under the serger foot, I needed it basted first and then to be very careful. This was finicky. But it would be the same issue if you straight stitch the whole arm side and then attach the elastic with your serger, because you still are going to have that really, really tight area at the top. So I did not top stitch first. Okay, that's a lie. I top stitched my first version. I burrito rolled, attached the elastic, good to go, pulled as gently as I could the dress through, and it popped the top stitching. To be fair, I was using a cotton spandex jersey, so kind of like a thicker one, and I had power net and 2 layers of the bra. So I had a lot more layers than they intended going through there. So the top stitching popped. I finished doing both arm sides and then I top stitched and it was fine. So basically, I needed them to give more information about the elastic. I needed them to tell me how far from the edge I'm stopping it, because you give it to me later down in the briefs section. So why couldn't you put it up here? Because I didn't make the briefs. I had to go hunt for that information just to satisfy my own curiosity, because I didn't make the briefs, because you don't have to make every part of the pattern. You get to pick and choose. So the instructions for every piece in this pattern should be fully, all the information should be there. Again, they do have a video for the burrito method if this is your first time, so that's helpful. Then the bra and everything, very standard, very fine, no issues. It does have a thing you can click. Want more support? See this video on how to add sewn in bra cups. So they do have a link to the video on their YouTube where they show you how to do sewn in bra cups. which is helpful and really good if you like a sewn in bra cup. I don't, I hate them, cannot stand them, which is why I did just like the insert, but I'll talk about that later. Everything for the shorts was fine. I did line the gusset because why not? I had enough fabric. I just cut another piece and then lined it. I can show you. So this is all enclosed here instead of the raw edges right here. Just burrito method it and it's fine. Super easy. Yeah, so the shorts were all fine. I did not have any annoyances, but also there's no elastic, so that might be why they weren't missing any further information I wanted to know about elastic. Something else about the instructions that I did not mention earlier is the chart for how much fabric you need. So it says for the dress, extra small through an extra large, which I, the first time, made like halfway through a large and an extra large on top and then a large on the bottom, and the second time I made a straight large. So it says I need 1 7/8 yards plus half a yard for lining. The lining is the bra. So when they say lining, they mean the built-in shelf bra, sports bra, whatever you want to call it. I had 2 yards. I should have been maxed out, right? The shorts are another 7/8 of a yard. So in all reality, I needed 2, 3-ish yards. Honestly, I got it all out of 2. And it was a 60-inch wide knit fabric and non-directional, which is what it's based off of. So I don't know who's wrong here. I would like to say I'm right because I got it all out of the fabric, but I must be missing something. In terms of sizing, the first time I did it, like I said, I did kind of between a large, extra large on the top. I cut right between them to the waist and then did a large. The second time I did a straight large. I chose to do this because my measurements put me right into extra large territory on top. I'll put my measurements down below. Large, and it says to choose your size based on your high bust measurement. I have a 40-inch high bust. That is the size you're supposed to choose. And then from there down, I'm basically a large. So that's why I initially was going to do an extra large. But then I saw Karen from KGFL Creations talk about her experience making the tankini, the shorts, and the brief. And she said that it was kind of like gaping up here in the arm side. And I asked her for her measurements and she was kind enough to share them. So based on that, that's why I decided to do like, oh, I got a halfway between large and extra large because I did. So I chose to be a little cautious. I didn't go all the way down, but then I ended up taking in, I don't know, like an inch on both sides after I got done. So I had it like this and I ended up having to shave it in about an inch along here on both sides to get it to feel a little more snug and fit a little better. So I went down to a large for the next one, which I don't know why I thought that would be enough because it's definitely not an inch difference between a large, extra large middle line and a large, but I was hoping that would be enough. It's not. I do need to shave more in. So, sorry, I'm like losing steam. There's a lot to talk about. When I shaved it in, it fit a lot better on top. Looking at the sizing more closely, it only gives you about 3 inches of negative ease at the bust, which for swimwear and activewear, you want more, okay? Like a lot more. Google told me 20 to 25% of negative ease. So I don't think it's enough. I think next time I'm actually gonna play around with sizing down to a medium on the top and then going out to a large from the waist down because I do like how the bottom fits, but also I don't want negative ease at the bottom. I like how it fits there. But I do think I'm gonna go down to a medium on top next time because I just need more negative ease in my life for this fit. I think I've hit on everything in terms of my sewing experience with it. Oh no, one other big thing with the elastic. I needed them to talk more about the elastic because this is something that I have not hit in a lot of other patterns. I think maybe 1 or 2 other patterns I've hit the whole like using clear elastic in a seam situation. So you have to add your clear elastic to the seam like it talks about, either by serging it or by doing a zigzag stitch. They did not at all explain how to go about that so that it doesn't interfere with your seam allowance. oh good, I have the perfect elastic for this. This is 3/8 inch elastic. I used 1/4 inch elastic on some of it and 3/8 inch elastic on some other of it. But if you attach this while you are serging, thankfully I had a Made for Mermaids pattern and a J-Lee pattern that both explain this and gave visuals basically. If you're using 3/8 inch elastic and you're attaching it while you serge, you are going to end up with 1/8 of an inch overlap into your seam allowance. So when you go to fold it, it's gonna poke up. This is not gonna fold flat like you want it to. It's gonna poke up because you will have that little 1/8 of an inch, right, sticking up into it. And it's like plastic, even if it's kind of the soft kind, it's still gonna stick up. So what you have to do to get that to not happen is serge your seam or sew it and then attach it with the zigzag so that you have overhang. Make sure you can see that. So that you have overhang there. You line up the edge of the elastic with your seam line, not with the edge of the fabric, right? So if you're putting, I hope this makes sense. If you are putting it through your serger as you are attaching this elastic, you're gonna end up, oh, I do have a visual. Okay, so if you are serging it and putting the elastic through at the same time, you're gonna have it like this. So here's, sorry, it's hard to see. There's the elastic, here's the seam. And then when you flip it over, for this, it's not a huge deal. I don't love how it looks, but it's not a huge deal. But if you wanted it to fold over, which is how all of these seams are, you can't? Really? Not well. So the plastic is right there, the clear elastic. And even if you fold it this way, then it's there. You have a 1/4 inch or you have 1/8 of an inch. You're losing either way. So you can't serge it at the same time if you're using 3/8 inch elastic. That's the moral of that story. So I think that was silly to include in the instructions without explaining what that will lead to if you do it that way. I think that is finally it for my thoughts. Now, let me show you my two versions really fast off of my body. I do have some video to insert, and then I have the tutorial for the insertable cups. So I already kind of showed you this one. This is the first one I made out of that organic cotton spandex jersey. I got it at Gail K Fabrics in Atlanta a couple months ago. I love the color and I like how it feels. It was easy to sew up. I did everything correctly with this one. I did not baste a lot of these interlocking seams before I serged them. So I regret that and fixed it on my next version because, like, see how that just doesn't line up? It could be better. It's not bad. I wear it. I've already worn it multiple times. It just could be better. Details, you know? I sew so that I can make my clothes look better. That's something I could buy. I did put a little label in. I used the same label for all of them. Handmade. This is Sarah Hart's label. Cute. And then for this version, like I said, I did the bra so that there's a piece and another piece. So these are two separate pieces for the front, and there's power net in there. So, and I did the opening on the outside, so not touching my body. And yeah, nothing else significant or interesting. It has the jersey issue where it just kind of clings sometimes. I don't love that about jersey, I'm gonna be honest. It's fine, but with the shorts underneath being the same fabric, they kind of cling to each other in a not great way sometimes. And yeah, I forgot that I don't really like that about jersey dresses. This is like a pretty decently heavyweight one. I did run in it. This is not running fabric. I will not run in it regularly. I did it one time to see if I liked it. I did. That's why I made the next version. Nothing else significant to talk about really. This did not turn out super sharp. I think just because I had so many layers that I was sewing in all together. I did make the shorts with this version. I like the shorts. I really like the 1-inch hem. I think it functions sort of like a band to help hold things down really well. When I ran in them the one time, I didn't have issues with it riding up, which was really, really nice. And it is a yoga type waistband, so there's no elastic in there or anything, which I also really like. I find very comfortable. The fit of the large is good on me. Pockets are huge, 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 which is either a good thing or an annoying thing. I don't know. I don't put a lot of stuff in my pockets ever, maybe throw my phone in there as I'm getting in and out. Like, oh, I wore this to take my toddler to a minor league baseball game, and it was nice to be able to put my phone and stuff in there so I didn't have to take like the diaper bag off of my back to scan our tickets to get in and stuff. So nice for that accessibility. Again, the label. So yeah, definite win. Now the next version, I need to fix some stuff because I was busy talking to my husband and not paying attention to what I was doing. But this is an ATY from Surge Fabrics, which is basically their supplex. This was amazing to work with. I had a subscriber comment that their cheapo brother machine did not do well with it, so I made sure I had fresh needles. I changed the lower blade. I wanted to change the upper blade, but the screw wasn't coming unscrewed, so only the lower blade got changed. But I tried to have as much stuff, like top notch, switched out as I could. And everything about working with this was amazing. Cutting it, serging it, sewing it. It was beautiful. Running in it. I did wear this to run. I shouldn't put that on my body because I need to wash it. I wore it to run today. I made it today and I wore it to run today. Big, big fan. I am looking for secret activewear. Like, you know how everyone wants secret pajamas? I want secret activewear because I do work out 5 days a week. I say work out, I run 5 days a week-ish. But I don't want to have to get dressed multiple times a day. And I usually don't end up running until like early evening, late afternoon. So I'm either in my pajamas for half the day if we're not leaving the house, or I have to get dressed multiple times a day, or I'm wearing my running stuff all day. So I want things that feel put together and aren't just like leggings and a t-shirt, because I don't like to wear leggings as pants. Nothing against you if you do, that's just not my vibe. So anyway, I love this pattern for being secret activewear, but also functional. That's the thing that a lot of athleisure clothes aren't, because they're for athleisure. I need them to be functional, but comfortable to wear all day. So anyway, back on track. This version I filmed a tutorial doing. For this one, I did not do that. Ooh. Oh. That's from my sweat and the marker that I used earlier. That's disgusting. So I have the inserts. Maybe not, maybe that's the fabric? I don't know, I'm gonna have to wash this alone. I have the inserts. This time I had them face my body because I did not want to make the cutouts on the power net. I wanted the power net intact and doing its power net stuff. Speaking of power net, I did not put any in the shorts waistband. You could if you wanted to, but I didn't feel the need, and even when I was running in them the other day, did not feel the need. I did not make the shorts to go with this one because I want to make a different shorts pattern and do some color blocking and stuff. So the issue with this one is I did not put elastic in the arm size because I was talking to my husband. He's been out of town and we were catching up and stuff, and I just forgot to. And when I realized it, I was like, oh, that's so much work. I don't want to go back and do it. It doesn't even make that big of a difference. And the thing about me is I love to learn things the hard way. Like, I just am an experiential learner. I just like to experience things, and that is how it sticks in my brain best. So you better believe I will probably almost never forget to put elastic in the arm size again. It does make a difference. I'm gonna have to go back and do it at some point. It made everything fit kind of funny on the top. It just was not as tight. And I do think the top stitching of this turned out kind of weird. I have some gaping that I think is a combination of doing the large, which was not small enough right here, and not putting the elastic in the arm side. So all things that I'll be able to fix. Not too difficult, but I loved this ATY. I want to order it in every color and have 1,000 outfits made out of it. It is fabulous, fabulous stuff. So those are my two versions. I will include video, and then we are going to switch over to the tutorial of how to add these so that you can put cups in and out instead of having to commit to a sewn-in cup or not have anything. I did wear cups in those today when I ran and it was nice. So A+. Let's do the tutorial. So I just finished assembling the front and back of the dress, which would be the dress or the tankini, and then attach the shoulders per the instructions. That is good to go. Now it's time to move on to the bra. So I have my bra back and my bra front, and I cut a piece of power net that is the same as the bra front. You could do power net on the back too if you want a little more, but I find just the front is supportive enough for me. The other thing you can do is cut 2 of the fabric for the front if you don't want the power net to show. I did that in my first version, which was made out of a cotton spandex jersey, not an athletic type jersey at all, but it's fine. I don't mind it. Obviously that extra layer does help give a little more compression and support, but it is bulkier than I like for exercise, and I do want to wear this dress for running. So I'm just going to do the power net and the front of the bra. So we're going to set the back to the side for now. Then what we are going to do is keep the power net whole, so we'll set that to the side. And then for the removable pad opening, you just want something round. I keep this ring dish in my sewing room to kind of catch random things, but you can use anything round. Something like this would probably be too small. And play around with how big you want the opening, keeping in mind that the seam allowance is 3/8 of an inch. So just kind of see how far over that'll be and then base it off of that. Then you want to get a marking tool that'll work on your fabric of choice and mark that semicircle on both sides. I am going to mark out approximately the seam allowance just so I have a better look at kind of what it is. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just gonna give me a good place to eyeball. And then also I want to mark out the seam allowance on the top to make sure that I am centering this, or at least not cutting off the semicircle at all. It's probably hard to see the black. I don't have any good white marking tools right now. I'm kind of out of the normal pencil I use, so sorry if you can't see it, but generally that's what you're doing. Now for the bottom, it's 1 inch elastic, and you sew it to the bottom and then fold it up. So it's going to be kind of about that, which makes sense. So I'm just going to generally mark that. So the space I'm working with is between, probably cannot see it, between here and here is generally where I want to place my semicircle. Now you can make it, you know, as intrusive or as small as you want. I like mine to be pretty decently sized so I don't have to like do weird stuff with my fingers. To get the pads in and out, we are going to sew a line down the middle to help at least keep the pads on their own side of the bra. But I still like a pretty decently sized opening, and I've never had issues with them like randomly falling out or something while they're pressed against my body. So I'm going to do about like that. Cool. And then I'm going to cut it out on one side, and then instead of trying to like make sure I get it the same length up and stuff, I'm just going to fold it over and it'll be close enough. Close enough for government work, as they say. Or good enough for government work. Okay. Then fold it over, line it up. Oh, I might have gone a little too high with that. Oh well, it'll be fine. It'll all be fine. Now that we have our semicircles cut out, you can totally leave it raw. It won't fray because it's knit or anything like that, so it would be fine. I am going to serge the edges just to make it look a little more professional, so I'll come back with that done. Okay, now we have those edges serged, look a little more professional, a little more neat. Now we want to get the power net attached, sewn down the middle, and then we're gonna baste around the edges just to make it one piece, and from there on out, you work with it just how the pattern says. A couple of things to note though are you want to decide which way you want facing your body and which way you want facing out. So this is the right side of my fabric. This is the wrong side. I think I want the wrong side. I think I want the wrong side touching my body actually. So this, yeah, just feels a little softer. So I am going to do it this way. And you just want to make sure you make that decision beforehand. To sew the line down the middle, you just want to fold both bits in half. Thankfully, it has this V-neck, well, kind of sweetheart shaped neckline. That makes it super easy to figure out the top, and then the bottom will just mark. One note of caution, by the way, when you're serging these edges, if you choose to do that, is not to serge the arm side. I did not do it, but I came very close to doing it the first time I made this because, you know, things are jumbled up. You're just looking for a curve. It can look dangerously like a cutout. Don't do that. So the center is marked. Once again, it's really dark, but get it. And then the power net will have like a smoother side and a rougher side. So this is the side I want out, the smooth side. Because in theory, then the dress will kind of flow over it a little more. Like I said, the other version I had like basically a lining of the bra, the power net, and then a main fabric of the bra. So this is my first time putting the power net directly to the dress. And I just want to make sure that smoother, slippery side is facing it. If you're doing the swimsuit, you can use a swimsuit lining as your bra, or you can use more swim fabric. I believe Whitney from Tomcat Stitchery, when she did her like reveal of the pattern, because she was a tester, she had a tankini that she interlined like this, and I think she did say she wished she had done the bra in swim fabric, not in swim lining. So just a note, check out her video where she reveals the Clearwater if you want to see what she did and her opinions on it. There it is. I should probably draw a straight line. That would be super helpful to myself. And the first couple of times I worked with power net, I wasn't 100% sure like which side would be best to sew on, if that makes sense. Like if I wanted the power net facing the feed dogs or under my foot. There's probably an official way to do it out there, or like a best practice way, but I have not found that it really makes a difference. At least not anything I've done yet. So in this case, because it'll be easier to see the line, I'm going to sew with the power net up. Okay, our line is sewn. This will just help keep the cups from moving. You could get crazy, I guess, if you wanted to, and sew, I don't know, more specifically just where you want to hold them to, because none of this is going to be seen from the outside of the dress, right? So if you want to do something like, where do you want your pad? Like here, if you wanted to sew like a curve kind of this way or something, just to help keep them a little more contained, you totally could. But like I said before, I don't think I've ever had an issue with a cup sliding around once it's on my body with a tight fitting garment like this. Now what we're going to do, last thing before we just proceed as normal, is we are going to baste. Now, I did not I don't want to baste this side that has the openings. Well, I want to baste it a little bit, right? But not hugely so. I want to baste it just kind of to make sure that these corners don't get too crazy, but I don't want to baste across the opening. Like, I don't want to sew straight from here to here. I did that on my last version on one of the sides and it just went terribly wonky. I ended up taking the basting out to actually sew the side seams later. So don't do that. Just do a little bit right here and a little bit right here. It did shift, as you can see. That's fine. It'll all be caught in the seam allowance in the end. Like, it's not a big deal. So go ahead, clip all the way around, baste all the way around, save for this little area, and then proceed normally. That does it for my review, my makes, my little tutorial to do with the Love Notions Clearwater Summer Essentials. I feel like I probably came off kind of harsh on the instructions. I just was kind of surprised that there wasn't more for a Love Notions pattern, that there wasn't more and that it didn't explain a lot of stuff. There were a lot of little errors and I was not that impressed. The drafting, I'm impressed by. Good drafting. I like the pattern. The pattern instructions. Like I said, you can definitely get a wearable product out of it, a workable product. I just wish there had been more. That's all. I just wanted more. I expected more, to be quite honest. If this was my first Love Notions pattern, I'm not going to say I wouldn't buy from them again, but I would not be like as excited about their patterns or their releases and stuff like that. My first pattern from them was the Rhapsody blouse. That's a great pattern. I really like their classic tee. Those are the two other Love Notions patterns I've made and I've always been super, super impressed. So between having sewn so much activewear from other companies that specialize in it more and offered a lot more information and expecting a lot of Love Notions, the instructions kind of fell short in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. Let me know your opinion down below if you've sewn it. If you have a lot of experience sewing swimwear or activewear and you've taken a look at this pattern, what are your thoughts? Because like I said, I'm very new on the scene for this. I've just done a lot lately, so it's been very present in my mind. That does it. I will see you guys on Friday for #FridaySews. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, please hit that like button, comment down below, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I'd be so happy to have you here in my little corner of the sewing YouTube community, which currently has been a lot of activewear, but I swear I'm going to do other things soon. That does it. I'll see you guys on Friday. Bye.